Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host GamerK, and it is September once again, ladies and gentlemen. That means for a bunch of you, a bunch of kids, it's back to school season, and during this time, I'm really hoping it goes well. And I thought, to start off September, I'd start off with a school-themed video game review. And this one is from a series I got into from a YouTuber. Once again, I will put a link in his description. I will put a link right here. Okay, third time's a charm. 1, 2, 3. There. Thank you. You see, this is why I don't hire editors. Because for some reason, it just works automatically. But sometimes, it likes to be stubborn. Anyway, last year, I got into it from watching his, the pandemic, mega marathon of Nancy Drew games. And this one, all honesty, I decided to buy 4 games last year and download them and get them downloaded. And all honesty, a good majority of them are good. And this one is no exception. Warnings at Waverly Academy came out in 2009, and it was the 21st game in the series. And since the game now has about 30-ish, about 33 games, and from what I hear, again, they're supposed to have another one. So, hopefully they go back to the original aspect of Nancy Drew, and not the open world looking, okay, it is open world, but not the way it was in the last game, because I watched that and, oh Lord! But the game, this one is really good. So, we are asked by a headmaster of an all-girls upstate school in New York, Waverly? I don't know if that's a real place, but it has to be, because they would never make something up just to make an area. Or would they? So some of the girls have gotten threats from the mysterious black cat. No, not that black cat. Okay, can we get rid of this right now, please? Thank you. And if you get a second letter, strange things happen to you. 2 students have been already sent to the hospital. One for having an allergic reaction. The other one for being locked in a closet all night. And the student is claustrophobic. And so it's so bad that the parents of the students are threatening to sue the school. So the principal or headmistress, I guess, asks Nancy to go undercover in order to understand who this black cat is and what the motive is, so the school is not held responsible. And this is one of the few games the only one I've played where Nancy has to go undercover. And a good majority of these games do have her going undercover, including the remastered version of the very first game that had a completely different ending and completely different puzzles. Now this one is honestly, it's one of my favorites, mostly because it's something, it's straightforward and you can never really guess what the whole story is. And games like that, especially in a detective game, are ones that I need. Because if the story and the mystery are so obvious, what's the point in playing if you can literally pinpoint everything? In all honesty, it's very difficult to do that, because there are certain tasks in this game that you will need to accomplish, but I will get to that later. So basically, from what we learn as going undercover as Becca Sawyer from France, I believe? Yes. We meet a good majority of the students. And I love that every single suspect is a female, because it is an all-girls school, excluding any of the teachers. So we got our new roommate, who was roommates with the previous victim of the black cat. We've got the girl who tries so hard to be valedictorian, and it shows that she's very ignorant. A sports girl who is dating the boyfriend of the popular girl, and a girl who constantly has us doing tasks, while at the same time always acting bizarre around us. I'll get to that a little later. And a girl that is kind of unpopular, but she doesn't care, and has serious Abby Shudo vibes because of her hair. And yeah, basically this is what Abby Shudo is in a video game. And the game is done very, very well, basically being kept in the single building of the dorms, which is also the hall and a whole bunch of other places. Well, not a whole bunch of other places, but basically it's the location we're in one single location throughout the whole game, so there's not much of a map to travel through and to go back and forth, but it does get a little annoying, backtracking a little bit. So a couple of things that we do for the one student is take photos of all the valedictorian candidates and do the website, get photos of some of the important things around the hall, like the big oak tree in the front, the steps, the crest in the foyer, finding a picture of what was her name? I got it right here, I think. Rita Holloway, who was a nurse and I guess was a founder of the school, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that because it's done very loosely. The mystery between the black cat and the obvious hidden treasure or whatever it's kind of indicated throughout the whole game, but it doesn't connect until near the end. Finding a picture of her, the picture of the trophy, which is in the trophy case. And one thing I really dislike in this game is if you break certain rules, like get caught sneaking after lights out, breaking the library display, get caught sneaking into a music hall, into the hall that's blocked off, you will get demerits. And apparently there are achievements for getting demerits. I mean, the achievements in this game I don't really go for. A majority of it is just solving the mystery. But in all honesty, the game does do a really cool job with its puzzles and its mystery. We get to talk to some of the girls via phone call, but we have to do some stuff for the other girls first before we can get this far in information and find out that that basically everything done to them was probably premeditated by another student for some odd reason. Once again, it seems like it's more about the valedictorian contest to be that, because a lot of the people in this building are candidates, which, all honesty, kind of makes for less good, okay mystery, but a lot of it's pretty good. One thing I also love is throughout the game, you will be getting involved with some of the gossip and clique wars a little bit, and it's a little irritating, but at the same time, it just adds a little context to the characters in this game. You will also have to do one of the most annoying parts of the game, the snack bar, where you will have to constantly do the orders and you have to do them fast. Luckily, it's not that annoying, and it's always easy to figure it out once you get the hang of it. A lot of the other puzzles in this game are very schoolish. For example, and I have my list, you have a project that you have to copy off the popular girl or help her with her molecule display, and it's a very irritating puzzle. You have to take photos. You have to search through at night. You have to go into some of the girls' rooms when they're not there in order to investigate. And 4 puzzles and there are very obvious clues throughout the school of what to do with the puzzles. Like there's a lampshade with a piano design that will kind of give an indicator. The piano puzzle, late at night in the locked room, you will have to touch the raven. There's a wooden display of a raven where you have to touch certain parts of it in order to activate a puzzle, which instead of just giving you the thing right away, it knocks down the wooden map puzzle, which, FYI, a piece of it is underneath your desk in your new room, so you will have to get that, or else you'll have to find it later and do it again without the risk of getting caught. And that will give you one of these tokens. And there will be 4 tokens in order to complete the whole game. There's a gorilla, there's a cat, a raven, and a beetle. I don't get the symbolism. I really don't. But the puzzles, some of the puzzles are pretty okay. Some of them are forgettable. Like getting once you complete there's a section outside where it's stone and you got to put the pieces in correctly, which will reveal one. But then a squirrel will steal it, and then from your door at night you have to within this unlogical scenario, wherever the squirrel jumps on a branch, you will have to match where it went. And the squirrel goes up, then down, then sideways. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, some of these puzzles are just there just to add a mystery. And then very late in the game, we found out about the society or something where 7 girls each year get together and chant something, and the chant is basically the puzzle of how to get to the last section of the game. And luckily it's only said once, but luckily it's in your notes as you continue in the game, because if you didn't carry notes, what's the point of investigating and talking to everyone? There is one section where you will have to prove that the Abby Shudo character isn't a cheater, and you have to prove it, which, all honesty, is pretty fun. There will also be side objectives, like, again, doing the snack bar, playing a little air hockey with the sports student in order to get some information, then playing a dart game, which, all honesty, I would love to play in a bar right now, because that game sounds pretty fun. I love games like that. What else? It's revealed a little later within the game that there is a distinct connection between the woman Rita Holloway and Edgar Allan Poe, which, now that I think about it, the raven, the cat, and all those puzzles kind of make sense with Poe. Oh boy. And then there's a puzzle later, which is a star map puzzle, where you got to move throughout the stars, but you can't go into the same one twice. And depending on the difficulty, senior or junior detective, the puzzles reach a certain difficulty that is annoying beyond all belief. But all honesty, one thing I really do love is, after examining basically everything, and once again, the mystery of the black cat thing and I'm just going to reveal, the big treasure reveal is a Poe manuscript that was never ever released, never published, never even seen the light of human eyes. And Rita Holloway, the old woman from the photo and from the books, basically hid this and did the Blackwood Society in order to basically one day find someone smart enough to figure out the puzzles. And once we find the black cat, I'm not going to reveal who it is, because that would just ruin the entirety of the story. But all honesty, the reveal, I honestly didn't see it coming. It was nothing real malicious. Basically, the culprit was a real Edgar Allan Poe fan, and decided to do some research and found out about the manuscript and wanted to find it, knowing it was somewhere in the hall. But because it was winter break, that would be the perfect time to search without being noticed or anything. But since some students stayed during the winter break, the culprit needed a way in order to get people out of the hall, so there would be minimum issues finding the manuscript. However, it's not until Nancy comes in and discovers all these little puzzles that leads to it, that would have been a lot easier. In all honesty, it's one of the few culprit reveals that doesn't give me a jump scare, because they're not right frickin' behind you, and it's not annoying. But the final puzzle, how to get out, is kind of lame. Like, there's 4 sections, you have to empty the stones, and then it's okay. The final reveal of the culprit, like, stopping her, obviously it's a her because all the suspects are female. It's done pretty funny when one of the students is stopping them, and it's done pretty well. All in all, the puzzles are pretty really fun to do, and some of them can be a little difficult. The game doesn't trail off into some nonsense in order to have us do all these chores before we're allowed to investigate. All honesty, I think that's why a good majority of the games are long, because they tack on a lot of chores for you to do before you can investigate things. This game does not do any of that. You do have to do some favors for some of them, but it's nothing super difficult. Just a couple geometry puzzles, just getting them snacks and all that. And all honesty, I hate myself for this. I was stuck at a particular part because I couldn't go into the basement because I didn't have any light, and it didn't occur to me to look into the cabinet, into the utility closet. The battery was right there, and I didn't notice. I didn't flip the light switch to see it. So yeah, unless sometimes you act stupid like me, the game will take you a good majority of time. And I like to take my time with these types of games. But on average, the game is about 5.5 hours long. For a game like this, that's not really bad because it's a majority of talking to suspects and doing puzzles. And for completionists who want to get every single trophy, well, not trophy, but your little tasks. No, not tasks. Look, at the end of the game, if you did certain things, it will take you about 11 hours to do so. But 5.5 hours is the main story. And for doing everything, like, plus the extras, it is about 8.5 hours long. But it's not all that, but mostly because I took my time with the game. So, and also, every single character is, like, you can never tell what their secret is. Although one character's secret is you can kind of tell a little bit what it's going to be because of the interaction with the character, but I'm not going to spoil it for people. So overall, this is one of my shortest game reviews because I don't have a lot to say in this Nancy Drew game. Because the puzzles are really inventive and fit for the school. Also, there's this one where you will literally need a book on dining etiquette because there's a bunch of silverware locked up, and you will have to remember what the order was and what each fork is for, and for a course meal, and you'll have to hit the correct ones. I literally had to draw a diagram of every single fork and remember what they were in order to do the puzzle. I miss games like this, where you actually had to write down the puzzles in order to figure it out, because using YouTube wasn't around when I played games like this. I actually had to use my brain and think. And a game like this, all honesty, is pretty fun. With the suspects all being really fun and none of them too annoying. With the reveal being, honestly, one of the ones where I couldn't guess it. And having the mystery kind of not be like shoved down your throat. It's enjoyable just to discover what the whole plot was. So, in all fairness, the game is really short. The puzzles are fun. The suspects are what make this feeling of high school or boarding school, kind of, all fun. So, GamerK's final verdict for Nancy Drew Warnings at Waverly Academy gets a little bit of a B+, somewhat. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I was originally going to give it a 7, because even though the puzzles are great, and some of them can be a little annoying if you're not really sure what to do, the story and the fact that it did a literature type of treasure instead of like this giant sapphire that no one's ever discovered before, or a golden jade monkey or something like that. It was honestly something fit to a school, and yeah, it honestly worked. Because the mystery person, Rita Holloway, was in Baltimore with Edgar Allan Poe, it would make sense for them to bring it somewhere away from Baltimore. In all honesty, it's a good way to get Poe involved. Thank you for joining me on this video, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Link to Argofump's channel would be right there and in the description down below. And next week, join me as I finally get to be center stage as I go through some of the most creative bosses in all of the theatrical world. This is GamerK, logging out.